Mike, I got one question for you. What time is it?
It's 7 o'clock somewhere. Showtime. Welcome, everybody, to Movies at 7, the weekly podcast where we dive into one specific film, dissect, rate, and review it. And this week, we are traveling to Gotham City, circa 1970s, 80s, just, I don't know, for Joker Part 2, Folie, Deux. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and joining me is Kirk. What is going on, sir?
What's going on, man? It is good to be back.
It is great to be back with a brand new podcast. So kind of excited about this.
Yeah, the new and improved. We've expanded our catalog. That's the point, right? We want to watch different movies and more movies.
Yes. So everybody from the old MVJ Horrorcast, we appreciate you rocking with us. We're just expanding. We're growing. It's a great thing. So
it's always good to grow as a person, right? I feel the confines are off.
If you
right?
grow up and not outward, I guess. It just
I'm doing that too. I'm doing that too.
Well, that's what age does.
Yes.
But yes, we will be reviewing all types of movies, all genres. We're going to be going to the theater a lot with this podcast.
I'm looking forward to it. More recent movies too. That's the idea. We want to get into stuff that's coming out, and you guys might want to see some movies, and we're going to see it and give you our review, what our thoughts are.
So, as we discussed, we did go to the theater. Folie, Deux. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I just feel fancy every time I say it.
You always try to put a French accent. Folie, Deux.
Folie, Deux is the movie. So before we get into this, going into the theater, all right, what were you thinking? What were you excited about this movie before we went to see it?
First and foremost, I mean, obviously Joaquin Phoenix was a beast in the first run. Like he led that movie off. He was excellent in it. But what made me nervous is that story was kind of complete. Where do we go from here? Like, what's the story past this? I just didn't know.
Yeah, that first one's so dark and depressing. I was thinking, if it's a continuation, can I sit through another 2.5 hours of it? But I do agree. The acting in the first one was amazing, and I was expecting that kind of going in. Before I went in my head, I thought this was going to be, I don't know, a 7.5. That was just in my head. Going in, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd probably give the first one about a 7.5. So I was a slight step down from there. So I'd say 7 on this one. Like I was thinking maybe a half step down.
So we're gonna find out here very shortly if it lived up to the hype in our brains. Did it fall to what we thought might happen? Lots of stuff to unpack with this puppy.
Can't wait to hear what you said. We were both walking out of this thing where weren't sure what we thought yet, so I'm excited to hear what your scores are.
It is a digest. A digest movie. As a warning, just like our previous podcast, we don't know how to not spoil anything. So that is where we are. If you haven't seen this movie yet, we will ruin it for you. All right, yes. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. But I'm excited to get to it. But before we do that, there's a little thing that we're always going to want to start the show with, and that's a little top 7 countdown. And each week we'll have a new top 7 countdown. But this week, Kirk, what is our countdown, I should say? Yeah,
well, so we were watching Joker Folie, Deux, right? Is that right? Did I say that right?
The way you said "do" is it did. It's
Deux. Deux. How does an American say that? Who knows? Anyways, so it's comic book-esque, like it's from those worlds. So why not do top 7 comic book movies? Like I love comic book movies, so let's count them down.
I mean, I think everybody, even if they say they don't like comic book movies, they like movies that came from a comic book and they just don't know.
They've seen them because that's all the movies that's been produced over the last few years.
Now with our top 7, there are no extras. There are no anything. It is just, what is that top 7? Kirk, I want you to kick us off.
Ooh.
All right, on this one at number 7. What do you have coming in?
Number 7, yeah. So no honorable mentions on this. So these Judge us on these 7. So
these count.
These count. So my number 7 is a little movie from Zack Snyder in 2009 called Watchmen. So comic book series that I thought was excellent. There was a lot of changes in it, but this still is an excellent comic book. One of the best acted comic book movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a little complicated at times, but I did enjoy The Watchmen. I know you didn't see it because you have a bias against watching series, but HBO had a Watchmen series that I thoroughly enjoyed, and supposedly they were going to come out with the season 2, but I don't think it's happening at this point. It
just was such a good, and the changes they made from the comic to the theatrical were so relevant and worked so much better than what was in the comic worked for the comic. What was in the movie worked for the movie. I adore that movie.
I like it.
Switch your number 7.
So coming in at number 7 for me, I'm going all the way back to 2004, Hellboy. Ron Perlman. This movie it looked good when I remember seeing the previews from it, but I just had a blast in the theater. I actually like the Hellboy series. There's another one coming out actually here very shortly. The Crooked Man,
So Hellboy, that series with Ron Perlman, that's Guillermo del Toro, which is known for his creature design. So excellent movie. I agree.
And then I'll wrap us around here. So coming in at number 6, we actually just met him recently. You got an autograph from him at one of the conventions, but Frank Miller. And we're going a little Sin City from 2005. The aesthetics of this movie, the cast is amazing.
Very unique.
How they took it from the comic book and how he draws and writes and how they put it on the screen, I thought was just amazing. And it's one of those ones that I still catch on TV from time to time, and I'll stop and watch it.
Yeah, no, great movie. Absolutely great movie. So I'll wrap this around to myself. So for me, it's a little movie from 2006. Love this freaking movie. I struggled with all these movies, where to place them, so I just kept them where they were. But V for Vendetta, I think that is one of my favorite movies of all time, let alone comic book movies.
Well, sprinkle me F for failure, because I have not seen V for Vendetta.
You've never seen V for Vendetta?
I've never seen it. Now I feel like you're shaming me with your eyes. I don't appreciate this.
I did. Natalie Portman's in it. I mean, it's just Hugo Weaving. The movie is excellent. It's Guy Fawkes. I mean, it's just, you have to watch it. We'll have to review it now. It's going to be a one we review that we don't have a newer movie to review.
No, possibly. Listen. You'll get a first look from me. Fresh eyes.
All right, so I'll keep this going. So you brought up Frank Miller.
This is your number 5, right?
This is going to be my number 5. This one is another Frank Miller book. It is a cartoon, so I'm taking some liberties here. So this is from 2012 and is The Dark Knight Returns. Not The Dark Knight Rises or The Dark Knight. It's The Dark Knight Returns, which is a cartoon comic book movie. It is a 2-parter. It's like 3.5 hours long. It is freaking amazing. And the picture that I had Frank Miller sign was from The Dark Knight Returns. That is my favorite Frank Miller thing. It's excellent. It's absolutely excellent.
You are just checking off things that I've never seen right off the list, but I did see you with the thing that he signed. So yes, and I think you gave me a little bit of a rundown at that point in time.
You need to watch it.
Yeah, there's a better chance of seeing V for Vendetta before that one.
Yeah, you'll probably like V for Vendetta better, but Dark Knight Returns is excellent.
Well, for me, I guess I'm coming to 4 here, right? No, 5. It's my 5.
You're 5.
I know how numbers work.
Yeah, we've done this before, I promise.
Number 5 is from 1998. I'm going in the past here, but Wesley Snipes. Blade. Blade is such a fantastic movie, and Blade 2's honestly fantastic as well. But this one kicked it off
better. Yeah.
It's a movie that I need to revisit. But I loved it, and I don't think that they'll actually change in a rewatching.
Yeah, they're trying to do another Blade, but that is on shaky legs right now. They keep losing directors and actors, and they just can't figure that one out. But Wesley Snipes is Blade. Period.
He is Deadpool Wolverine. Awesome job.
Deadpool Wolverine, yep. Which I haven't seen yet.
Coming in at number 4 for me, speaking of Deadpool and Wolverine, is actually Logan from 2017. This, I don't know. This is like, it's obviously a Wolverine movie, but it got just gritty and real. And I mean, I remember the preview, they had the Johnny Cash Hurt playing. I mean, it just has a different feel to it. And this movie I rewatched recently.
Such a good movie.
After Deadpool and Wolverine, and I was like, all right, I got to rewatch Logan, and oh my gosh, it was just as good as the first time I saw it.
And the thing is, like, so on this top 7 count, we're not doing any honorable mentions. So we had some painful cuts, and Logan was one of my painful. I'll go and ruin it right now, but Logan was one of my. I did not want to cut that one out, but I had to cut it. So,
it's very painful.
yeah. So my number 4, I'm even going further back, and once I tell you the year, if you don't know the movie, you're not a comic book fan, but it is 1989, which is the original Batman. So Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, the loaded cast of which it was.
Where does he get those wonderful toys? That's my favorite line in the movie.
You want to get crazy? Yeah. So, I mean, there's just so many memorable scenes in this, and it's just a superb movie. And at the time, I mean, we had never seen anything like it, period, end of sentence. It was just so unique. It was great. I don't know. It's one of my favorite. Obviously, it's top 4.
It's amazing.
Freaking amazing. All right. So my number 3, I'm going even back in time, which, yes, there were comic book movies earlier than 1989. We're going all the way to 1978. In 1978, the original Superman the movie came out, which John Williams score, Christopher Reeves. I mean, good God, that was a great movie. As a kid, that was like, he was Superman to me. Like, there's so much nostalgia stuffed into that movie for me. I couldn't not put it in my top 3.
I knew you were going to go with these original movies. Growing up, I remember watching those original Christopher Reeve Supermans, and
the first one is
and loving them. And was it Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor? I mean, there were some great movies. I can't discredit those.
Yeah, unreal movies. And it's just like, as a kid, when you're watching these movies at 4, 5, 6 years old, it's just bigger than anything on the planet. It just, I don't know. It's just nostalgia stuffed into that one. But what's your number 3?
So my number 3 is a more recent one. Weird. I'm in the shit now, and you're in the past. But I think it's the ultimate comic book movie, or just
it's number 3 and not number 1.
It's the assemble of them. But Avengers Endgame is, I think, one of the greatest movies of all time. I remember being in the theater and, like, you're applauding and you're almost like standing. I mean, it was intense, and it's long, and it felt like, I mean, there were like people seeing 40. This like 15 times, and it's almost 3 hours long.
It's the highest grossing movie of all time, I believe, right? Or it was, and then Avatar re-released and caught that record back, I think.
But Avengers Endgame was one of the last Marvel movies that, before Deadpool and Wolverine, honestly,
which I barely give them credit for. Like, for Marvel, that was Ryan Reynolds' baby, and he took it and made it a great series.
But it's kind of it feels like the end of, like, all the good writing, and I think it's coming back now. We'll see.
Hope so.
But I love Endgame. So that's at number 3 for me, and then coming in at number 2, I am going a little cartoonish here. But it's not really cartoon. I don't know what design or whatever it is, but from 2018, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is one of the greatest unexpected movies.
For sure.
I went in, I took my kids to see it, and I'm like, I mean, it looks cool, and the graphics and
different.
It was different, but
music.
It was cool. But everything about this movie, the humor was great, the story was amazing, the look of it was incredible, and I was blown away. It's in front of Endgame, you know what I mean? Like, because it just caught me off guard so much, and it's such a great movie. And honestly, part 2 is great as well. I can't wait for part 3. But that first one, like I said, there's nothing better than having no or little expectations and something just blows you away.
And here's the thing about that movie. With comic book movies, when you have and I know Miles Morales is kind of a main character, but when it's not the main Spider-Man, I'm always a little bit turned off by that. Like it's Miles Morales, not Peter Parker. It's John Stewart, not Hal Jordan. It's all these different. It's the other person. That being said, they made that movie was excellent. I went in with such low expectations, like you said, and it blew me away.
And the different Spider-Mans that they brought in,
so good, so
and
funny.
everything,
Nicolas Cage,
just
Nicolas
incredible.
Cage is in it.
Yeah, but I like Jake Johnson, who does Miles Morales' voice in that. I mean, everything about it fantastic. But
fantastic. Yep.
What do you have
at number 2
coming up next year? Yes.
So my number 2, it is very similar to your number 3, but just a touch earlier. So my favorite Avengers is Avengers Infinity Wars. I
feel like it should be one long movie and put them together, but
I don't know. I liked Endgame, so I liked Endgame. I thought Infinity Wars was one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. The bad guy won. Thanos was a great character. They got their asses handed to them. I just loved all that, and they lost. Everybody was.
You know why I put Endgame just a smidge over that one?
It was a happier ending.
Well, not that. It's that they landed the plane.
They sure did. They did.
And that's so tough to do. And they didn't have to do that in Infinity War because they knew there was,
I don't know. They landed.
Coming.
It felt like it was.
No, they landed the plane for that too. But like you knowing there's a second part coming, they could have sucked there. But like at the end of Endgame, like that's it. And there was so much expectations.
The only thing that took me out of Endgame is there was a lot of repeat in Endgame where you had to go back and relive some of those old movies. And it's like the time travel thing, the reliving. Don't get me wrong. I think it's an excellent movie. I'd rate it very, very high. It just kicked it out of my top 7, which is not a bad thing. It's going to be high. It's a very excellent movie. It's just Infinity War was a little bit better for me. So who's going for number 1 first?
I wonder if we have the same number 1.
I kind of think we do.
Mid 2000s here. Is that
around 2008?
Around 2008 specifically. So go ahead. We have the exact same one.
It's
go ahead and tell everybody. Yes.
I mean, the Joker and the Dark Knight was the Dark Knight's the movie, obviously. So that movie, Christopher Nolan, who is my favorite director of all time. Period. End of sentence. I will see everything that man puts out. The Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker, whole freaking new. I mean, so if we were scoring The Dark Knight and in the section of acting, I would be asking for bonus points right there because that's like a 12 or a 13. Like Heath Ledger was perfect, and I don't say that very lightly.
I mean, everything about that movie, but I mean, Heath Ledger really carried the movie. But Christian Bale as Batman was fantastic, and
Michael Caine. Excellent.
Michael Caine was. I mean, it feels like he was born for the role. But Heath Ledger. I mean, let's face facts. This is the role that kind of drove him, to the point that he couldn't return from.
He did another movie afterwards. I've heard that's more of kind of a shadowy legend.
Lore.
I don't know how true it is. The man had a drug problem, no matter what. So. Unfortunately, fortunately, it got this great movie out of it. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, I mean, it was a dark movie, and I think he dove deep into the movie.
It was The Dark Knight.
It was The Dark Knight.
Yes,
the music. I just went and saw Hans Zimmer live. They did the Dark Knight. It was excellent. Oh, so good.
I think for people that enjoy comic book movies, and I think you're more of a comic book movie fan than I am for sure, but I think if you appreciate comic book movies, I would venture to say 70% of people probably have Dark Knight as their number 1 movie. So
here's the crazy part about our 2 lists. Right before we move on, we had only 1 movie in common, and I don't disagree with anything you said.
Like I said, this is the one that I wish there were honorable mentions. Yeah. We will never do honorable mentions in this, but there were so many good ones left off the list. You had a bunch of ones that I had written down too.
Yep.
That's just how good this category has been.
How become, The 2000s were very good to comic books. So
one time we'll have to do a top 7 of post 2020. comic book movies and see how that goes.
I don't have any on my list, so that's going to be a slog.
I'd have 2, maybe.
We would have to get creative on what considered a comic book movie.
Deadpool 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine. And I'd be like, all right, after that, I got nothing. But,
yeah.
All right. Well, that is this week's top 7 is how we will always kick off each show based off of, something from the movie that will give us the list. But it is now time for this very polarizing subject at this moment. And it's time to dive in.
Joker Folie, Deux.
Warning. The following footage may cause irrational excitement.
All right, welcome back, and Joker 2, Folie, Deux.
Joker 2. Let's just go.
Let's just
your
say
accent's terrible. Let's just keep going.
It's the second Joker. So we already kind of said you said you were about a 7. I was thinking about a 7.5 going into this.
About
so
the same,
it'll be very interesting to see where we land. But before we go into rating and reviewing the movie, let's go.
What's in the box?
All right, what's in the box? So Joker Folie Deux is a 2024 American musical psychological thriller, film directed by Todd Phillips from a screenplay he co-wrote with Scott Silver, loosely based on DC Comics character, and it is a sequel to 2019's Joker. Stars Joaquin Phoenix. It stars Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, Zaza Beetz. It also has Brendan Gleeson and Kathleen Kenner as joins the cast. It was produced by Warner Brothers Pictures and also DC Studios, an associate with a joint effort production. The budget for this movie was $200 million, while the 2019 version was $55 million. So a massive jump in budget. The opening weekend so far, well, I guess it's already over because it's past that, but the opening weekend was $121 million made. Now, to compare that from the 2019 one, made $248 million in that opening weekend.
So is that worldwide?
Worldwide.
121? Okay.
121 worldwide. So the 2019 one ended up grossing about $1 billion. This one did about half of what the original one did. So last thing, I want to help Mike here. So Folie Deux means, I'll give you the definition of what this means.
I know. I actually looked it up.
You looked
but no,
it up.
I want you. I was just so proud of myself for knowing this.
So Folie Deux means the delusion or mental illness shared between two people in close association.
Madness of two was
the madness of two. Yep.
Yes, is what I saw.
So last thing I got here is IMDb scored this a 5.5 and Metacritic's got it at 48%.
So this, like we said, this is a very polarizing movie at this point in time, and people are honestly, there's not too many people on the I love this movie. Everything I'm reading is
so that would be the opposite of polarizing.
How much they hate this.
This is a uniting movie.
I guess this is true, but it's polarizing as in everybody's talking about it.
Yeah,
we're talking about it.
We definitely.
I did read that opening day of the original Joker was 39 million opening US. And this one I read made 37.8 through the weekend in the United States. That's why I asked you.
Oh, yeah, that's worldwide. It's worldwide.
So I still think this movie's going to make its money. And
yeah, if you made me take a guess here, I would say it makes between $650 and $700 million, which to break even, they need to be around $500 million. So it's going to make money.
It's still going to make money. But without further ado. I'm very proud of myself. Let's talk about this here. So movies at 7, we are using a 0 to 10 rating system. 0 is kind of it's the gum on the bottom of your shoe that you just can't get off, and you just keep walking, and it's a hot muggy day and it's just stuck there.
That's very descriptive.
It's very descriptive. And a 10 is kind of like just floating on a cloud. I should have thought about those two things a little bit more before I said it. But we do rate on 5 different categories. We sum them all together, and that'll give us a final score for each. But our first category, familiar from our podcast in the past, is story beats. And Kirk, what does that mean?
Yeah, story beats is exactly what you think it's going to be. It's going to be the story. It's going to be your writing, the concept, the 3 acts putting all this movie together, and what really kind of holds it all together. What was the flow of this movie? So
So this is an interesting movie here when it comes to it, and I don't know really where I want to dive into it, but
It's a hard start to a conversation here.
it is. I think the first thing that people are very upset about or are confused about, I think, was just the whole musical, and I think that's probably where we start. Now, I gotta say, I don't think the musical really bugged me that much about this movie.
So the musical, the idea of having a musical, especially if you hire on Lady Gaga as your co-star, I don't think it's a bad idea. And it kind of leads into the madness of Two, right? So it makes sense going down that path. Now, the problem I had with the musical sense of it is the songs didn't really do anything for the story. Like, it just kind of was music. It wasn't continuing the story. Like,
well, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying,
yeah.
and I think for me, they also this movie takes place
2 years later,
2 years from the original, but late 70s.
1981 was the original.
Oh, was it? Okay,
Yep.
all right. So this takes place in 83. So,
Yep.
but you have a ton of great music in that time frame.
Yeah.
And instead,
It was going to be more show turn. It was going to be more show tunes. I get that.
it, but I didn't even know half these songs, and they're from like the 50s and 40s, and I just didn't.
I don't even know if they
resonate.
were they knowledgeable songs. I felt like they were singing about what was going on. Like, this didn't happen, but for example, like if Joker shot someone, he would then break into a song. I just shot somebody in the face. It just was kind of explaining what happened. I felt like what the songs were more.
Oh,
doing.
I thought that they were.
They might be. They weren't very good. I'll tell you that much.
That's the problem. Well, there are a couple times where they sing actual songs from the 70s or 80s, and I really vibed out to that.
Yep.
And I was like, if this movie had like a 70s, 80s soundtrack that they're singing to it, I would have done a little bit more for me in the musical, sense.
It had to do one of two things. One, it had to be entertaining music, to your point, like 70s and 80s music that can duet to, or it had to be kind of like a Les Mis or a Phantom of the Opera, where it's kind of getting deeper into the emotions of the story, like of his madness, of their madness, of explaining what's happening in the scene. And I feel like they didn't do either, which kind of left it wanting more, I guess. I don't know.
So what'd you think of the actual? So I mean, this movie is like what, 2 hours and
a little
10
over
minutes
long?
long?
2:15, 2 hours. Yeah.
So it's a long movie. So what'd you actually think of the story of the movie, though?
So all right. So it was a tough movie to make. One, the first one was already complete. The story was told. The Joker was created. This one had to figure out how to make a whole new story, and they put us back in time. Arthur Fleck was a depressed person that was finding himself again through this movie. I don't know. I feel like it was a destruction of the original movie a lot, because from the cartoon. So you open up on a cartoon that tries to push the narrative of the split personality, but we already kind of know it wasn't a split personality because you saw the first movie. So
yeah, but I disagree with that, because in the first movie he does have these delusions of him being a different person.
He was mad. He was delusional.
Correct, but you don't know what is delusional and what is that, and that's what, like, going into this movie, I think it's a continuation of that dark, bleak. But I think in this movie he actually finds himself and realizes he's not going to be told, who he is. He's not that person, and he tries to be for the entire movie, and then at the very end he's like, I'm not.
Nah, I'm good.
And but that is a problem with it, that you have now spent 3.5 hours, 4 hours with these characters for them to go, I'm not that. That's not who I am. And everybody goes, all right, peace out.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. So it's like you invest 2 movies, 4+ hours. And I was interested in the story. I was interested where it was going to go, but everybody's talking about the ending. We're going to talk about the ending soon. The lead up, though, was kind of a breakdown of the entirety of the first movie. And I thought they were going to accelerate that into more Jokerisms. Instead, they went a different direction. You just have this depressed guy named Arthur.
Well, I think part of my problem, too, is, and you and I both thought this kind of going in, that maybe Lady Gaga's a figment of his imagination.
Something like that.
You even
I
have
leaned
this-
over. Yeah, I leaned over and said it in
yeah.
the middle of the movie.
And I was on the same page as you of like,
Yep.
I think so too. I think this is all delusions. And they even have a scene where he's in front of all his he's in jail. He's staring at himself on the TV or whatever it was.
He was dancing around singing.
And he breaks out into a song and he's dancing around. And then all of a sudden it cuts to him just staring at the screen. It never actually happened.
Which musical wise, that was one of the better songs.
Right. But it also made sense to the whole thing. He's delusion. He's out of his mind. They don't do that again the rest of the time.
No.
And it confused me. Why did you do it for that scene then versus like saying he was delusional throughout all these, different things?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird to me, and it struck a weird chord.
I think weird is a good description of the story they went with and how they landed it. Because here's what everybody's talking about is the ending of this movie. So I want to hear what you think about, because I have been thinking about this ending for how many days now. I want to know what you think.
So I guess first off, if you want a break, come back in about 5 minutes and we'll be done talking about this ending here. It's
about 10 minutes of movie time, and we might talk about it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's to kind of walk through this, Arthur is now in court. It is kind of like the big climax of the movie where he's dressed up in the Joker face paint. He's got Lady Gaga, who's officially dressed as Harley Quinn in the front, like shit's about to go down. And instead, Arthur just sits on a stool like he's residing over his own, trial.
Pisses his pants.
And he just goes, you know what? This is not me. I'm not the Joker. That's it. Basically Lady Gaga, Harley Quinn in this, she just walks out. Everybody's like, what? A bunch of other people walk out. And then a bomb explodes and he gets up and he's just Arthur Fleck just trying to get out of there. And there's still some Joker people that are trying to help him along because they think he still is the Joker. But he's like, no, I'm Arthur Fleck. Like, that's not who I want to be. I'm not going to be told what to do. And so I guess my initial thoughts with this was I was pissed. Yeah. I was, once again, I just sat through 4.5 hours worth of like bullshit for this to just lead in to this moment. And I thought like to land the plane on this would have been so great for him to just go off.
And you had the opportunity to. I
and
still
to
think
start a revolution right there. Have the same thing. The bomb goes off and he just escapes out and, all of that. And it didn't happen. Now, listening to Todd Phillips talk about why, because I had to do some research after this. I guess it makes more sense to me, but I'm still kind of pissed.
So what did Todd say? I haven't watched it yet.
So Todd basically said the first one is called Joker, not the Joker. And he said, I said this was an origin story. I didn't say it was the Joker's origin story. I said this is an origin of the character of how the Joker basically kind of came to be. And you are seeing how the Joker name, like how all of that like got started. But Arthur Fleck at the end of the day was just a sad, delusional man that, was basically being pushed by all these people. And at the end of the day, that's not who he was. And that's the end of his story. And he is dead. And, but he put the Joker persona out there into the world.
He created the fantasy.
Exactly, yeah. Which his version, and he said he's done with it, but he goes, his idea was never that he was writing the actual origin of the Joker. He was writing the origin of how people latched on to this fictitious character that they created.
Which I thought that was the direction he was going. If like I've been kind of dissecting it in my brain. I thought it was more of Harley was kind of creating the Joker, right? So she was the one controlling, and she would go on to the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. That's why the Joker has no background, because he's all these different people.
Well, and he also said, that Harley Quinn, she doesn't like the person. She likes the idea
fantasy
of it.
Yep.
So Arthur Fleck,
she says so much in the movie. She says so much in the movie.
It's not about her. Well, I mean, she shows it when she immediately says, "Kick rocks, you're not the Joker. I have nothing to do with you."
But that being said, the best intentions and what you're trying to do, I freaking hated this ending of the movie. I feel like it's invested time in nothing, and he's telling me, and that's what I thought that's what I thought you were going to say, that we're investing in 2 hours in a movement, not 2 hours in a person, when the person is is acting his ass off, is turning into the character, is, you know what I mean? It's just, I get it. I get the idea, but I don't think it worked.
I'm with you. But I think
I understand what you said. I just,
I
understanding and liking are two different things.
I think it's time to rate this section, though.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I'll go first on this one here.
Yep.
So on a 0 to 10 scale, I come in at a 4. And a lot of it has to do with the ending is a big part to me, and it was a letdown. We discussed this. I actually was enjoying this movie. People can pan it, whatever. There's definitely still, like I said, glaring holes of sometimes something's a delusion, sometimes it's not, and maybe that's intentional. But the ending just takes away. Like I said, you put a little holes. It's just slightly below average for me. I come at a 4.
Yeah, prior to the ending, before he put that bench down, and the movie went to shit, I was probably a 5.5 or 6. You know what I mean? Like I was like, you know what? This is better than average. If they just land this plane, we can get ourselves into a 6. If they kind of average the plane, we're going to get ourselves into a 5.5. But they decided to crash this thing into the ground and try to be too smart for the britches. So I'm a little bit lower than you. I'm at a 3. I just think that ending crushes not only this movie, but it crushes the first movie for me. Like it hurts the first movie for me.
It's because you want him to be the Joker, and now it's just a movie about some guy named Arthur.
And I care about it less. Like I don't care about either movies now.
All right, so that takes us to our second category of the evening here, which we call the ARC, which stands for acting, relatability, and character development. It also brings the character arc together. Technically, I guess you could say there's 4 characters in this movie if you want to throw in Brendan Gleeson with the guard and Kat Kenner with the lawyer. But realistically, this is centered around 2 people.
Yeah,
Arthur and Harley. What did you think?
So I'll get into them here in a second. I got to lead with somebody else first, and I think the person that was the best scene, the best acting, what really moved me in this movie, and there's a scene in this movie that is beyond excellent, and it is right before he puts down the bench. I guess it's about 20 minutes before, but Gary Puddles, yes, which is really what sets him back. He's the miniature guy. The midget. Lee Gill is the actual actor's name. He was fan-freaking-tastic. The story he told, the interaction between the two of them, that gives you chills. Like those two were excellent. That being said, Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix were both extremely good. They were great. You bought the delusion between the two of them. I thought Brendan Gleeson as the security guard was excellent. I think all 4 of those people were excellent.
I could not agree more. I love to disagree with you. And that scene
Gary Puddles was
with Puddles on the stand, and you actually see. And that's why I can also understand with the story of Arthur kind of breaking in that moment. Like you see the tears come to his eyes. Because he's like, what have I done? I'm trying to be this character and I'm hurting people I love. And Puddles is saying, but we were friends. You were the only one that was ever nice to me. You know, I mean, that was heartbreaking. I think Joaquin Phoenix is
Joaquin.
It's our Folie, Deux. I can't say anything in this movie, but Phoenix is incredible.
Yep.
The way he moves and dances, and he has that lean back that he keeps doing, and the crazy laugh from the first one to the second one that's in there. I mean, that's tough to do, and he is incredible.
This is what made the story even the more painful to watch. It's you invest your time in Joaquin Phoenix, and I see him as the Joker. I see him as that character being created in front of my face, and I see the confidence building. And then I feel like it was a complete dump on him, Joaquin Phoenix, not Arthur. I felt like they dumped on him just to dump the movie, and it just. I don't know, that ending, but we're not even talking about ending. We're talking about relatability. Joaquin Phoenix is excellent. Lady Gaga, I thought was an excellent.
I was blown away, and I've seen a lot of hate towards her in this, and I think people are just now hating to hate. She was fantastic.
Yes.
She was fantastic, and I would love to see her as Harley Quinn again.
Absolutely.
And
Her story arc, it's her story arc that people are pissed about. Like, she was like the mastermind and pushing him to be the Joker and put him into that Joker mood again. And people didn't like that. But her acting and what she did and her delivery, her music, and you saw a little flash of crazy in those eyes, for sure. She sold it.
No, she was, like I said, fantastic.
Yep,
and
100%.
Kenner, who plays the lawyer, she's very empathetic, and
yeah, she was good too.
You even keep going back and forth of like, is she really like, she's nice, but is she really doing what's best for Arthur? And at the end she is, and it's Harley is the one that but in the moment you're like, I don't know, I want to see it go this other way, and
because you want the Joker, you want to see,
you want to see that, and
you want to see that that him dancing down those stairs again from like the first one.
But I also found the relatability in this.
Yeah.
I found it extremely intense. Of like, man, I relate to killing 5 people or going, but like I felt for the characters. Like I felt I was living in this world with them.
I didn't like that we had to rebuild the Joker again, because this started us from peg 1 again, and we had to rebuild him again back to the Joker. And I was like, okay, I can get on this train. It's probably about a 6, a 5.5. And they started doing it perfectly. I was like, all right, we're really winding this back up again. And Joaquin Phoenix was selling it, and Lady Gaga was selling it. And I didn't like all the musicals, but I liked the idea of the musicals. And then that Gary Puddle scene, it just put it over the top. And then the acting was good.
So what does that equate to in a score, though? Yeah,
for me, that's an 8. It's an 8 out of 10. I mean, it was a very well acted movie.
So we're on the exact same page. I gave it an 8 as well. Yeah. I think this could even go a little bit higher, but there's a couple flaws here or there with I think the character development, but it's definitely a solid 8 for me.
We're nitpicking past that. That's what takes it off that 9 and 10, but yeah, it's right there.
Absolutely, which takes us into category 3, visual appeal. And what is visual appeal?
Visual appeal is going to be everything you see, your effects, your visuals, your cinematography, the gore, or any action or CGI or practical effects. Everything that's on the screen. How did it look?
I think this movie looks incredible.
Yes, I think it looks very good. One thing I will say, and I said it to you in the theater, I'm pretty sure this is a smoking advertisement.
I think I might have got lung cancer from watching this movie.
We definitely got lung cancer watching
There
this
is
movie.
not a second in this movie where they are not just heavily chain smoking.
They're in the hospital. They're in the courtroom. Was the 1981 really this like gangster with smoking? Like, it was everybody was smoking everywhere.
I think it was what you said. The budget was 200 million. I think 147 million went to Marlboro.
Yes, for sure.
Or Lucky Strikes, or I can't name Newports. I don't know, but it is nonstop smoking. But I will say the smoke in the air with the lights and whatever caused
the cinematography is good.
Beautiful cinematography from it, and I think Gotham looks really good.
This had the same look and vibe of the first one.
Yeah, the feel is right there.
The feel is right there. 1980s Gothamish. It just, I mean, it wasn't like the Michael Keaton Batman 1989. That was more of a comic booky feel. This was like rooted in realism. You felt like you're in New York City in the 1980s.
Grimy.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not sure about the cartoon at the very beginning. I think that was a weird tone to set. And some of the musical sequences, though I thought they looked good, I thought the visual of it was so juxtaposed with the griminess of the city where it kind of threw you off a little bit. But between the smoking, the darkness, the griminess, it just had a unique look to it.
So I disagree. I think the musical scenes,
they were beautifully shot. I just think it was contrasted.
I think they look good. I think Lady Gaga and Arthur Fleck look really good in those scenes as well. Like I said, the inside the jail, it just felt I felt like I was in there. I felt like it was just part of it. And when they get outside and the rain is coming down, like it always is in Gotham, the courtroom scene, like you name it, even the explosion afterwards looks great. I mean, once again, $200 million, budget, everything should look pristine.
One thing I wish I would have seen more of is the tension in the streets. We kept hearing about it, like, oh, the people out there, they're here for you, and you'd see the crowd on the steps of the courtroom. But I wanted to see that more wound up tension, and they kind of did a better job in the first one, and they used it through the garbage man strike in the first one, because you kept seeing more and more garbage start to pile up in the streets. Because in the cities, they just throw it up on the curb, and then the garbage comes every morning and picks it up.
But how are they going to show that with this movie when they never leave jail?
I don't know. That's my problem. I wanted to see that ramp up, I guess. And it would have gave that ending a little bit more flair to it as he ran down the street. I never felt that. And I think that's something you needed to see instead of being told.
Well, I think even they take it back to those stairs from the original, but now with him and Harley, I think they did justice to a lot of great.
But they just went there. They didn't
but they didn't need to. It wouldn't make sense if they were both dancing.
No, I get it. At that time, that would not have made sense. But you got to look at the first one. The first one had probably 2 or 3 just iconic scenes that you're like, that's cinema gold. I think this movie looked good. I just never thought that is going to be a lasting scene. Like him kicking his foot up on those steps could be made into a poster. What could you make into a poster out of this movie is my point.
Marlboro Red. I don't know. The last thing I'll say that looked good is just
Marlboro Red.
Arthur Fleck, when he put on the Joker makeup at all time, man, it just works. He's got the hair,
Joaquin
the
Phoenix
face,
works.
Everything about it, just that look works. But
dude's like 140 pounds.
His collarbone really creeps me out. But
he's already got
shoulder
kind of
blade
weird,
or something.
He's already got kind of a weird disfigured shoulder. You could see that all the way back in Gladiator. His body's kind of shaped different, but then you knock off him to about 140 pounds. It works. Joaquin Phoenix works as Joker, and now he's not the Joker.
Well, he never was. But rating this one, I'm an 8 again. When it comes to this, I thought the visuals, once again, there's a couple nitpicks here or there, but I think there are a couple things this movie does get right, and the look of it is one of it. Where do you land?
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Our scores are pretty far apart, though. So I think to get an 8 or a 7 or anything above that, you need those iconic scenes like Need for Speed and Top Gun. And, you can think of some of these top movies and you can remember scenes. And the first one, there's probably 2 or 3. This one, I can't think of any. The smoking advertisement was distracting for me at times. I gave this a solid 5, but it is a good looking movie. It's just the cinematographer did a solid job.
I completely disagree with you, but
I know you do.
That's my score is indicative. I like how you're like, I agree with everything. 5. The Russian judge over here.
I agree, but I think you're being too appreciative of the visuals.
I think it looks amazing. That's I'm appreciative. I understand what you're saying at the iconic, and I think if I look back, I think there are a couple scenes where it's not terrible, but I can understand that. But 5's low.
5's average.
All right,
5's average. I didn't say it was bad.
So category number 4 is something we like to call the movie driver. And that is basically what genre, what you came to see, how does it deliver on this one? This one's a little tough because it's jukebox musical, crime, drama, thriller is kind of like the breakdown of it. Yeah. So a little potpourri, if you will, of everything in Movie Driver.
Yeah, so I thought I broke this down to musical psychological thriller is what I broke this down into. Taking it as musical first, though I didn't like the music, anytime Lady Gaga is singing, she's excellent at singing. Like the girl has immaculate vocals. Let's just get that out of the way. And Joaquin Phoenix is a really bad singer, but it works with Lady Gaga. Like those two work off each other. Now the psychological thriller point, I think they were trying to. So the first one they did Taxi Driver and Kings of Comedy. That was the 1970s movies that he was trying to emulate. I felt like he was trying to go for a little Primal Fear. Do you remember Primal Fear with Edward Norton and Richard Gere? I felt like he was trying to go that direction with this movie. it kind of landed flat because I don't feel like they really kept with the dual personalities or the flip or the anything like that or the big reveal, and it wasn't a good courtroom drama. They kind of missed on all things. So all you had was the reveal of the Joker being Joker, and we didn't even get that.
Yeah, I think from I'm not positive what jukebox musical is, but I think we saw it. Like it's just a bunch of just random, it's not like the music's not telling the story. It's just a bunch of music. But I think it delivers on that. It does what it's supposed to there. I think the problem with this is it tries to fit into too many different categories. In its essence, it's kind of just a drama. That's really what it is. It's not action and adventure. No. I can see the crime, but the crime really happened in part 1. No crime really happened in part 2. So I don't see that
twice.
The thriller part of it, I don't even think they tried to escape during this movie.
No,
I mean, he did walk out I guess he did on the 1, but like part thriller. So I just look at it as a drama and I go, okay, it's an all right drama, but that's where I think the music actually kills the drama. It just, I can't get
so
into
the thriller drama stuff. They tried to have stuff in there with him and the guards beating him up and the assumed rape that happened towards the end there. The guards beating him up and doing whatever they did to him. Hint, hint. But it just then it didn't go anywhere. Like the guards didn't get their comeuppance, as you'd like to say. Nothing happened to them. Nothing was vindicated. It just.
But I also think the guards. Like, at least the Brendan Gleeson guard, like, he seemed like he was a hard ass, but he actually really liked Arthur Fleck. Like,
he's very nice to him.
He actually is very nice to him and not expecting anything back. So I think, like, he's taken back at the end where he says those fat guards and this and that. Like, that's when they get pissed.
Yeah,
so
beat the tar out of him.
I don't even know if it's, like, dramatic with that. I mean, there's definitely drama in it, but it's... but
I feel like that's what they were trying to raise the tension, and it's just, like, it never paid off, is my point.
So, I think this is you. So where are you on Movie Driver here?
Yeah, so the musical part, I thought the actual singing was good. I didn't like the music, and I never thought the psychological thriller or drama or whatever ever went anywhere. So I took it I gave it a 4, little below average.
So I'm right above you at a 5. I'm right at average. I thought like it didn't knock me down in any way, but it didn't bring me up either. I'm just right in the middle. I'm at, like I said, if there would have been less music in it, you could have made it more of a drama, and then it sticks to it, or give me a little something with that. Like I don't know. It was 10 pounds of crap in a 3-pound bag type deal.
Pick a direction
and stick with it. Exactly. So that takes us to our final category, something we like to call the lasting impression. What is that?
Yeah, your lasting impression is the rewatchability of the movie and how you felt walking out of the theater. Like how this sit in your crawl, as they like to say, right?
I don't think I've ever heard
You've heard
that.
it. You've heard it.
Have you said it? Maybe I've heard it from there.
Maybe.
So what'd you think?
So leaving this movie, I left pissed. It is kind of brewed down deep. I think this movie actually, the ending of this movie, I still think you could have saved this movie with a good ending. I think this kind of hurt the first movie even, which makes me not want to watch either. Which I'll never probably watch either of these movies again. And I was pissed walking out of it. So, I mean, pretty simple and easy. Like, what'd you think?
So, a little bit different actually on this. So,
Todd Phillips warmed you up, is what happened.
I think
he
a little bit.
You up.
No, there was a little bit with that. I
Kissing
mean,
the pig.
I think a couple things. One, I think initial reaction. Obviously, we both left and said the same thing. Like,
we
land the fucking
page.
plane, please.
Yep.
And I think that's an initial reaction right there.
Yep.
But as I thought about it over, let's say the next 24, 36 hours, obviously reading some things, but as I digested, I think this is one of those movies that, let's say at the end, the guy that kills Arthur, who carves, himself up, and he is the Joker, and this goes on, and Harley Quinn, like, I actually think this movie will be looked at more favorably down the road, I think this is one of those movies that might not be looked at favorably for another 5 to 10 years. And then all of a sudden you'll look back on it and go, wow, like I really want to see that again. Rewatchability. I am going to rewatch this.
Wow.
Because I want to now go back
Try to
now
see it from a
knowing
different
the end
perspective.
and see what did I miss. Maybe there's some other things that jump out at me. I want to see this other guy that was kind of in the shadows a little bit more. I want to just see some things that maybe I missed, because when you're in the thick of the shit, it's hard for it to come out at you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, I get it. I having the whole picture and then trying to understand it then makes more sense. That being said, like, I just think this ending hurts both movies, and I wasn't happy walking out of it. And I get what Todd Phillips was saying. I understand his pathway of what he's making the energy of Joker, not the person of Joker. I get that. But that being said, it just Joaquin Phoenix is freaking fantastic as the Joker. I want him as the Joker. I don't want some guy that's trying to pretend to be the Joker from The Dark Knight and cutting the scar. You know, I got these scars, you know, because I stabbed the Joker in the stomach and I cut it.
But for what it's worth, Arthur Fleck will always be the guy that started the movement. So in essence, they're all trying to live up to that Murray Abram show and what happened with those people on the train. So I think you get what you want. It's just, you want to see him continue, but he was never going to make another movie. So that was never going to happen after this. So
did you notice that both things that you said that I wanted was in the first movie?
I agree. But also, another thing Todd Phillips said is, how old is Batman in this movie? He goes,
10.
So how old would the Joker have to be by the time the Batman is actually the Batman?
That's still overthinking it.
But it's not, because you want to continue this universe down there. And this isn't Halloween where you have like, let's go with this timeline and let's go with this timeline.
But it's so good. And it just, Joaquin Phoenix did a brilliant job, and to just kind of crap out Arthur Fleck, it just sat poorly with me, I guess.
So let's give it a lasting impression score here.
So I think lasting impression scores are going to be very up, down, or middle. Like, I don't think there's going to be a lot of in between.
Isn't that everything?
No, like every like I could give something a 7. It's going to be like 1, 5s, and 10s. I feel like
it's very possible.
Yeah, so I'm at a 1. Like this hurt both movies, and I was mad leaving it. So
I don't want you to be right, but I gave it a 5. So
see, it's just the way lasting impression is going to be. It's going to be a 1, 5, or 10. Or, a 2 maybe, or a 9 or something like that.
So I'm going to add up these scores, because we got all 5 categories. The way we'll do it, we add it, we'll multiply by 2, and that gives us a score basically here. So we do differ on this one here.
We do
a little bit here. So your score, if I have it right here, is a 21 out of 50, which equals a 4.2.
Yep.
So you are pretty much in line with what everybody is kind of saying about this movie.
Yes.
I am a 30 out of 50. I'm at a 6.0 in here, so I'm slightly above. For me, a 6 is not a terrible score. Like I said, I and you and I talked about this. We were enjoying this movie up until I was at a 6. I was at a 6. And we're talking what ruined this movie was probably less than 10 minutes of a 2-hour and 10-minute movie. Well, yeah, I mean, because it definitely went sideways fast. But I still think this is a pretty solid movie. I think people are being extremely harsh, some for reasons that are definitely out there. Valid, I think some of it, though, is people are like you. They want Phoenix to be the Joker, and that's what they want, and they didn't get that, so this movie sucks. And I don't agree with that.
That's because that's what we got in the first one, and it worked.
So going back here, you thought you were going to be about a 6.5, and I was thinking about a 7. So we're definitely both lower.
No. You said 7.5. I said 7.
Oh, okay. So so we're you're way lower, almost cut in half, and I'm decently lower though.
You're a point and a half left.
It's definitely lower. So, I don't know.
Folie Deux.
Madness of Two.
Madness of
Maybe
Two.
that should be the name of our podcast.
There you go.
Instead of Movies at 7, it should just be
Folie
Mike
of
and
Two.
Kirk.
Madness
Folie
of
Deux.
Two. I like it.
But fantastic. Well, that is Joker 2. So I'm excited to hear what other people have to say. Who you agree with a little bit more here. It sounds like the world is pretty much in Kirk's corner. I'm used to being the odd man out in this, but
I think you're a person that kind of enjoys the journey sometimes. Like,
what's the destination?
Yeah. Like the ending is more the destination. You're kind of like the pathway there. You enjoy the journey a little bit more. You're definitely more forgiving than most, and you just kind of enjoyed the ride. I'm one that if you don't land the plane, it ruins the rest for me, because then I start thinking back on how it all connects and it doesn't make sense to me. So,
well, that is one trip that we made, but Kirk, it's kind of time to look ahead a little bit to next week here. So, what is the movie that we will be reviewing next week?
I mean, there's only one movie we could have gone see. Now, we used to be a only horror podcast. I get it, but it is October, right? And a little independent movie, but we are very excited, called Terrifier 3 is coming out. We are going to the theaters. We are definitely seeing Terrifier 3. We've met the cast, we've met the crew, we've met the writer, director, special effects people. We are fully invested in this Terrifier franchise.
And it's another 2+. I think this one's 2 hours and 5 minutes. I'm stoked to go see Terrifier 3. We already got all the hoopla of people passing out again and throwing up, and
Damien
collapsing.
Leone is texting it out. He's tweeting it out. Like, I've confirmed this happened. He's said it several times.
I love everything about it. So join us next week as we will be going back to the movies to see Terrifier 3. And that's kind of it for the inaugural episode of Movies at 7. Please, if you have Apple Podcasts, go in, give us 5 stars, leave a comment. It does wonders for it. You can also catch us on all the socials. Just search Movies at 7. There's a lot of different ways to talk to us. And we kind of want to know your thoughts on Joker 2. And let's get ahead of this. What's it going to be for Terrifier 3? So until next time, we'll see you at the movies.